At around 3:15 a.m., multiple objects crossed into Israeli airspace. Not one, not five, dozens. Some were fast, some were slow, some did not even look like missiles. And for a few seconds, the defense systems hesitated. That pause changed everything. Because this was not a single strike. This was something layered, something designed to confuse before it destroys. So the real question is, how do you defend against an attack that is not one attack at all? This was not random. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps launched a coordinated operation, ballistic missiles, drones, and cyber interference, all at once. Targets were spread out. Tel Aviv, Haifa, strategic military zones, even reports of fragments falling near the old city of Jerusalem. And this is important, because not everything was intercepted. But that is not the real problem. The real problem is how this attack was designed. Let us break it down. Iran used two key missile systems, the Khorramshahr-4 and the Qadr ballistic missile. Both are not new, but both have been upgraded. The Khorramshahr-4 is heavy. It can carry a large payload, and it can travel long distances without losing speed. The Qadr is different. It is faster, more maneuverable, harder to track in its final phase. Now here is where things change. These missiles were not launched alone. They were launched in waves. First wave, drones. Slow, loud, easy to detect. But that is the point. They force air defense systems to activate early. They drain attention. They trigger interceptors. Then comes the second wave. Ballistic missiles. Fast, high altitude, hard to stop. And this is the part most people miss. Defense systems like Iron Dome and Arrow are powerful, but they are not infinite. Each interceptor costs money. Each launch takes time. And when too many threats arrive together, decisions have to be made. What do you intercept first? What do you ignore? That moment of choice is where saturation begins. Now add one more layer. Cyber attacks. During the same window, reports suggest attempts to disrupt radar and communication systems. Even small delays matter. If tracking is delayed by seconds, interception becomes harder. If coordination breaks, coverage creates gaps. And gaps are all a missile needs. But that is not the real shift. The real shift is coordination across fronts. At the same time, drone activity was reported near U.S.-linked positions in the region, including Al Dhafra Air Base. This base hosts advanced systems like Patriot missile defenses. Some reports suggest minor damage, nothing catastrophic. But that is not the point. The point is pressure. Multiple fronts, multiple directions, multiple decision points. And this is where things get dangerous. Because now it is not just about defending one country. It becomes a regional strain. Let us slow this down. Imagine you are operating a defense system. You see drones coming in. You respond. Then missiles appear. You shift focus. Then systems glitch. Communication slows. Then another alert appears from a completely different direction. What do? This is not chaos. This is design. And this is the part most people miss. Modern warfare is no longer about power alone. It is about timing. Iran has been developing this approach for years, not just stronger missiles, but smarter attacks, layered attacks, distributed pressure, and most importantly, saturation. Because no system is built to handle everything at once, even the best defenses have limits. But that is not the most important takeaway. Not yet. What made this strike different was when it happened. During Nowruz, a symbolic moment, a time of visibility, a time of message sending, and also shortly after key leadership losses. This was not just military. It was signaling, controlled escalation, calculated pressure. But here is the uncomfortable question. If this level of coordination is now operational, what happens when it scales? Because what we saw may not be the full version. It may be a test, a demonstration, or a warning. And if that is true, then the real story is not what hit. It is what almost got through. At first, the numbers looked reassuring. Most incoming threats were intercepted. Systems responded. Alerts worked. But then, small details began to appear. Fragments landed in unexpected places. Some impacts were too close for comfort. And interception rates quietly started to drop. Not collapse, not fail, just decline. So what changed? The answer is not a single failure. It is pressure over time. Air defense systems are built on prediction. They calculate paths. They prioritize threats. But when too many objects arrive, the system has to choose. And this is where things become uncomfortable. Because defense is no longer about stopping everything. It becomes about deciding what not to stop. Let us break that down simply. Every interceptor missile has a cost. Not just money, but availability. Once fired, it is gone. Reloading takes time. Positioning takes planning. And during a live attack, you do not have unlimited chances. So operators prioritize. High-threat targets first, critical infrastructure first, everything else becomes secondary. And this is the part most people miss. If enough objects enter the system, some will always slip through. not because of failure, but because of math. Now add maneuverability. The Codler missile does not just fall straight down. In its final phase, it can adjust slightly. That small movement is enough to complicate interception, because interceptors rely on predicted paths. If the path shifts late, the margin for error disappears, and suddenly, a near-perfect system becomes slightly less perfect. But that is not the real shift. The Khorramshahr 4 introduces a different problem: payload. It can carry heavier or multiple components. Some reports suggest the use of decoys or fragmentation. That means one missile can appear as multiple objects on radar. Now imagine that, multiplied across waves. Operators are no longer tracking 10 threats. They might be tracking 30, but only some are real. And this is where confusion becomes a weapon. Now layer cyber again. Even minor disruption adds seconds of delay. And in missile defense, seconds are everything. Tracking updates slow down. Communication between batteries lags. And those small delays stack up. This is where things change. Because now, even a strong system starts to stretch. Let us talk about geography. Israel is small, but highly defended. Systems like Iron Dome, David Sling, and Arrow are layered. Short range, medium range, long range. On paper, this is extremely strong. But saturation attacks are designed to hit all layers. Drones trigger short-range responses. Ballistic missiles trigger long-range systems. Everything activates together, and this is the key problem. They compete for attention, now expand beyond Israel. The reported drone activity near Al Dhafra adds another drama, because now US systems are also engaged. Different command structures, different priorities, same timeline. And this creates a wider pressure field. This is no longer a single battlefield. It becomes a network under stress. So what is the real takeaway? It is not that defenses failed. They did not. They worked. They intercepted. They protected most targets. But that is not enough anymore. Because modern attacks are not trying to fail defenses. They are trying to overload them. And here's the deeper insight. If interception rates drop even slightly, the psychological effect is massive. Because confidence is part of defense. If people believe the system will hold, stability remains. If doubt appears, pressure increases. And that is exactly what saturation attacks target. Not just infrastructure, but perception. Now think forward. If this level of coordination becomes standard, more drones, more missiles, more cyber layers, then even advanced systems will face harder decisions, faster timelines, greater pressure, and this is the part that matters most. Defense will increasingly become selective, not absolute. So the real question is not, can these systems stop attacks? They can. The real question is, how many can they stop at the same time and for how long? Because what happened here was not just a strike. It was a demonstration of timing, of coordination, of limits. And if this model spreads, then future conflicts will not be decided by a single breakthrough. They will be decided by who runs out of time first. If you found this breakdown useful, consider subscribing.